What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Star. Today I'll be talking about Gerard Butler's latest film taking the world by post-apocalyptic storm. It's Greenland. Now, I had heard about this film somewhere along the grapevine, but I knew next to nothing about it, other than people were actually starting to talk about it a lot. Little did I know that it was a apocalyptic, explosive, end-of-the-world type movie. The marketing for 2020 films haven't always really been that strong, otherwise I feel like it would have been an anticipated film for me, because it's right up my alley. I was in a swivet when I started this movie. Let's get cracking. This review was brought to you by the word of the day, swivet, a state of nervous excitement, haste, or anxiety. Greenland tells the story of one family in the midst of a catastrophic and extinction-level event when an interstellar comet called Clark, which was thought to pass by Earth, strikes the planet in clumps instead, which ends up splitting the family apart, and they must find some other way to reunite before the biggest part of Clark strikes the planet. On the surface, this film's premise is more or less cliched and stereotypical. It's simply an end-of-the-world apocalyptic film about a comet barreling towards the Earth while the main characters struggle to escape their impending doom. Once you stick around and dig a little bit deeper into the story and characters, though, one thing that I noticed right away is that I cared a lot about these people, especially the mother and son, because in general, they all have something personal going on in their lives that's already causing turmoil before the comet ever threatens their world. The parents are already working on their marriage, and the son is diabetic, and he needs insulin, and I'm sure you can guess that eventually medical needs will come into play, not unlike the asthma the kid has in Signs. This common medical disability transforms into a bit of a medical emergency at the end of the world, and it humanizes the film, which makes it that much more tense when this family finds themselves getting split apart, and that it gets even worse when phone service doesn't work at the end of the world. This movie's kind of nuts because I believe that what was happening in this movie was possible. Maybe not entirely plausible, but possible. That being said, because it is cliched and stereotypical, it automatically faces issues being a competitor to the others that have been around forever. Movies like Armageddon, Deep Impact, or basically any of Roland Emmerich's stuff like The Day After Tomorrow, Independence Day, or 2012. And because it's an automatic competitor to those films, it doesn't exactly live up to the status of those films. People are going to watch this movie, have a good fun time with it, but ultimately forget about it as the time goes on, while the other movies will remain iconic until the day we all die. But on its own, it's fine. On its own, it's an absolutely competent and entertaining film about a family that you can care about and you can root for, even if their predicament isn't something that's easily fixable, which means it's engaging. And I'd say a majority of the special effects work in the movie as a whole, especially with the comet, is relatively well done. There were some moments towards the end that I felt like maybe some graphics were incomplete, like maybe some stuff with green screen. But as a whole, that didn't really bother me that much. I would definitely say it's a rewatchable film, but nothing that I think is necessary to own. It's a really good rental, we'll just put it that way. Let's go ahead and break down my final score for a second. From an unbiased technical vantage point, there were things that I liked in this movie regarding the visuals of the comet and the characterization of this family. I liked how they humanized the characters and put them first in the middle of apocalypse, as that made it pretty relatable to certain audience members. But at the same time, I can't really ignore the fact that originality can't be found in the film. It's cliche and stereotypical, like I've said before. I think we can all kind of guess how it'll eventually play out. My unbiased score is 72%. But you know what? I had a good fun time with the movie. I didn't know if I would, but the more it played out, the more I got sucked into the world, and I was rooting for these characters. This score is 90%, and when we average out the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 81%. 81 out of 100 possible stars, or a B- letter grade. The movie is definitely a rental that I think most people can have a fun time with, but I don't think anybody will be clamoring over each other to buy it. Maybe that's just my opinion though. Let me know your thoughts on Greenland in the comments down below. Have you seen it? And if you have, where would you place it with the other end-of-the-world thrillers out there? And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us. We think you're